Peace. Happy Wednesday. Hump Day. You guys are going to be reading detectives today. And it's kind of fun because that just means you go back in there and you find proof and you don't make any silly mistakes that Mrs. Mead makes all the time. But I always go back and double check my work because that's very important. Now today, just like last week, you're reading an excerpt of a book. Excerpt. That means it's taken straight out of the book. So it makes it a little bit harder when you're reading this because you don't know who the characters are or who the settings are or what the setting is until you go back and read very, very carefully. Then you're going to get some clues to what's happening in the story. But you're going to have to read carefully and be a detective because when you first start a story, most of the time they'll set up the characters and they'll introduce the setting. And in this, since they're just taking part of the book, which makes it a little bit more challenging to figure out who's talking, what are they? Are they animals? Are they people? And just like last week, you had Nettie and Dad, and you had to kind of read and figure out what was going on because they really didn't make it crystal clear because it's an excerpt. They're just testing to see how well you can read. So when you read all the way through first, and then you might want to go back and reread some things. And then when you get to your questions, be sure to go back because it might be in paragraph A, or it might be in paragraph B, or the sentence might be sentence number 3. So go back, read what it says. If you have any questions, think, and go back in the text. It takes a while if you do it properly. So if you're making your answers very quick, you might not be doing your best work. Don't do that. Now, conundrum. There's a slide in there about a conundrum, and you're going to have to watch Class Dojo and see what that is. When you get to math, it's math review. And I want you to remember that if Mrs. Gripsover and her 3 friends were getting something, that would be 4 people. I try to give one of those to you every week, so you're like, Mrs. Mead's not going to trick me this week. Now, let's look at these fractions. 1/6, 3/6, 4/6. Well, the denominator is 6, so they're all cut up into 6 pieces. Which one would be the least amount? That would be 1/6 because you're only getting 1 out of the 6 equal pieces. Now, which one would be the greatest amount? That would be 4/6 because 6 equal pieces and you get 4 of them. I hope it's something good. Now, do you remember if you have 3 as a numerator and 3 as a denominator, you have 3/3 and that's 1 whole. But what if you have 4/3? Well, that means you have more than 1. So I cut a pie up into 3 equal pieces, and I got 4, so I must be getting more than 1 pie. I'm going to eat all that pie. I'm going to eat 4/3 of the pie. So that means I'm eating more than 1. Then I'm going to have to go on a diet, clearly. Don't forget, if you have 1/3, that is a unit fraction, or 1/6. Just like a unicorn has 1 horn. Unit means 1. Una means 1. Unit fraction is 1 part of the fraction. So right now I want you to go try your best, work hard, but I want to review something. Distributive property. Do you remember what that is? When you take a big number and distribute it in 2 little numbers, and then you can do 2 problems and it makes it easier. Or the identity property of multiplication, where you're doing something times 1. 3 times 1 equals 3. And then you got your zero property of multiplication. 1 million times 0 equals how much money I'm going to give you? 0. multiplication property. You also have commutative property and associative property, but one of those properties that I just went over is going to be in your math assignment. So work hard, try your best, and we'll see you tomorrow.